Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has fed our lives to this moment. We pray He accept our ibadat. Ameen. We are welcome to another edition of the Free Nahw and Sorfu class. And in this class, we shall continue on Al-A'dad. So in the previous class, we looked at Al-A'dad min thalathatin ila asharatin wa hukm تمييزها. So we looked at numbers from 3 to 10 and the rulings of their temyiz. And also we looked at the general rules that are governing ma'dud. And if you recall, we said ma'dud is the number we are quantifying, which is also the temyiz that is helping us remove ambiguity from our sentence. Now, so last class we covered 3 to 10 and we said the ma'dud is what? Jaruhu jam'an bil idafati. That is, the ma'dud will be majrur, that it will take jaru. Why? Because it will be what? Mudafu ilayhi, to the adad. So jaruhu jam'an bil idafati, and it will also be what? Jam'u. And it is only 3 to 10 that conforms with the numbering system of English. That is, the number we are quantifying or the noun we are quantifying will be in plural form. So from 3 to 10. So the next one is 11 to 99, which is nasbuhu mufrodan. That is, the ma'dud will be in nasbu state. That is, it will take nasbu and it will be mufrod, going against what we know from English. So when we are, for example, 95 boys, it is going to be 95 boy here. So nasbuhu mufrodan, that should be mufrod. But here now, today our focus tonight is just on 11 to 19. Though we have 11 to 99 as the second category. The reason we are looking at only 11 to 19 is because of the formation of the number itself. The formation of the number from 11 to 19 is different from that of 20 to 99. So that is why we have selected, we've separated both categories. So 11 to 19, they are, that is a combination of two numbers together. We wrote 1 and 9, 1 and 1. So that means the wordings that will form the number 2, they are what? They are 2. For 11 to 19, the wordings that form the number are what? Are 2. And then the formation, the kind of formation that they come in is called Murakkab Masjiyu. Murakkab Masjiyu. Murakkab is a formation of two words that are brought together. So the kind here is Masjiyu. Two individual words bringing them together to form as one. So that is Murakkab Masjiyu. So 11 to 99 are what? Are Adadu Murakkab. They are Adadu Murakkab. And the formation is Murakkab Masjiyu. So they are what? Adadu Murakkabun. So, and also Murakkabun Masjiyun. So now we want to look at their formation proper. So we have the numbers written here. Some of them we wrote them this way because of space. Please bear with us. So 11, Ahada Asharo. From the look of this number, we can conclude that this is the what? This is the masculine form of the number. This is the masculine form of the number because we cannot see any sign of femininity in both parts of the number. Then for the feminine part, we have Ihda Ashrota. We have Ihda Ashrota. So this is showing us that this is the what? This is the feminine part of the number. Now you will note something. You know, when we wrote 3 to 10, they were in Rofun state, their natural state. We wrote Salasatun, Arbaatun to what? Asharatun, or Salasun to what? Ashrun. They were what? In Nasbu state. But if you look at this one, they were in Rofun state. If you look at this one, they are what? They are taking Fatha. Everything. Fatha. Why? Because this added from 11 to 19, they are what? Mabniyu ala fathi juzain. Mabniyun ala fathi juzain. Ala fathi juzain. So, they are mabniyu ala fathi juzain. What do we mean by that? Mabniyu. From our Arab, you know what we call mabniyu is a word that has a particular haraka on it that does not change. A word that is in Arab does not change no matter the situation, no matter what happens to the word, it does not change. That is what we know as mabniyu. So that means the fatha here, no matter what you do to it, cannot change. So if it is in Rafun state, you will still see fatha on it. If it's in Nasbu state, still the same fatha. Jaru state, the same fatha. Then ala fathi, so mabniyu ala fathi. So that means the fatha on it cannot change. Juz'ain for the two parts. Juzun, a part. And we know that each of these numbers, they have what? Two parts. So mabniyu ala fathi juz'ain. For both parts, the fatha cannot change no matter what happens to what? To the numbers. So that is first thing to note from the number. So we have 11 masculine, feminine. Then the second one, 12, Isna Ashara and Isnata Ashrota. So now this is an exception. You can see this is underlined with black marker. It is an exception to the rule of Mabniyu ala Fathi Juz'in. Because when Isna and Isnata, when they come into a sentence, the state they come in that sentence is going to determine what they take. So let's just look at this one briefly. Ghasaltu Isnai Ashara. The reason it is Isnai Ashara is because it is in Maf'ul bihi state here. The Isna is the Rafun state. So this is what? Mansubun bil ya'i. It is Mansubun bil ya'i. So when it is either in Mansub or Majrur state, Isna will change to Isnai. Isnata will change to Isnatai. So it is an exception to the rule of what? Mabniyu ala fathi Juz'ain. Also Ihda. Ihda, as you can see, the last letter here is what? Is harful illa. So here it is what? Mabniyu ala sukun. So these are the what? The exceptions we have for that qaida mabniyu ala fathi Juz'ain. So let us always note that while we are doing our i'rab, and for especially for 12, for Isna and Isnata, while we are writing or while we are speaking, we should always note that it is an exception to the rule. So they will change from Rafun to Nasbu or to Jarru as the case may be. So the next one, Salasata Ashara and Salasa Ashrota. This is another change again. This is another change you have observed. You can see that we are just mentioning the changes from observations. So look at this one again. This is another observation. We have feminine, we have masculine. We have feminine, we have masculine. Unlike the ones we have for these first two, this is masculine, masculine, feminine, feminine, masculine, masculine, feminine. But here, when it gets to 13, you see feminine, you see masculine. You see feminine, you see masculine. That is because the number itself, the unit part of the number is going to go against the gender of the Ma'dud, like 3 to 10. You know, in 3 to 10, we say Salasatu Awladin. Walad is a masculine noun, but we use a feminine number to quantify it. So the same thing happens here, but it is not the two parts that will go against the gender. It is just the unit part, the 3 parts, 4, 5 to 9 parts that will go against the gender. The ashara will conform with the gender. So that is why we have salasata, the unit part, going against the gender, because this is the masculine. This is the one that quantifies a masculine. Salasata, which is a feminine number for the unit. Then ashara will conform with the gender. Then for the feminine one, the second part, salasa ashrota. So this salasa will what quantify feminine. So we are going to see it better when we get to the examples. Then we have samaniata asharo, just like we explained Monkusi the other time. Yeah, because it is what mabniyu ala fathi. The fatha will come out of the ya. Because the fatha will force the ya out, and then we are going to have fatha on the ya. So samaniyata asharo, samaniya ashrota. Don't forget mabniyu ala fathi juz'ain. The two parts will always take fatha, except what we've mentioned. Isnai, isnatai, isnata, isnata, isna, isnata. So depends on whatever happens to 12 in a sentence. It is going to change. But the other ones will not change. They will still be mabniyu ala fathi juz'ain. Now, so let's take a look at examples. First one we have here, hafiztu ahada asharo hadithan wa ihda ashrota suratan. So we are going to be looking at everything we've mentioned, and we try to bring them out of the examples. So hafiztu, I memorized. The file is here already, the ta mutaharika. So that means we have to look for the maf'ul bihi in the sentence. So ahada ashrota, that means our maf'ul bihi is here. But because it is what mabniyu ala al-fathi, we are not going to say this is what. We are not going to say it is maf'ul bihi mansubun bi fathatin zahira. No. It is going to be another way of i'rab. Though it is in the state of nasbu, but it is mabniyu ala al-fathi. So hafiztu hada ashara hadithan. You can see, like we mentioned earlier, 11 and 12, they conform with the gender. Hada ashara hadithan. Hadith is a masculine noun, so we use the masculine form of the number. So I memorized 11 hadith. Don't forget, nasbuhu mufrodan. So the nasbuhu mufrodan applies because it's still under 11 to 99. The reason we separated is because of the way we write the numbers themselves. So it is still nasbuhu mufrodan. That is, the ma'dud, which is the tamyiz, will be in nasbu state and will also be mufrad, singular, going against what we know from English. So hafiztu ada ashara hadithan. I memorized 10 hadith. So I did not say ahadith. I did not use it as plural. So I memorized 11 hadith. Wa ihda ashrata suratan, and 10 surah. 11 surah. Ihda ashrata, and 11 11 surah. So the surah is also singular and nasbu. So nasbuhu mufrodan. The next one, ghasaltu isnai ashara qamisan wasnatai ashrata sayyaratan. I washed 12 shirts and 12 cars. Now look at the isna we have here. We had isna here, but it has changed to isna. Why? Because the state has changed. Here the file here is the ta mutaharika already. This is the is the maf'ul bihi mansubun bil ya. So that is why we have isnai ashara qamisan, and it also conforms with the gender. 11 and 12 conforms with the gender. Then wasnatai ashrata sayyaratan, and 12 cars. So gender, check. Not mabniyu ala al-fathi juz'ain. This one, not mabniyu ala al-fathi 12, not mabniyu ala al-fathi juz'ain. So you can confirm that also from the example. Then the next one, hadara salasata ashara waladan wa salasa ashrata bintan. 13 boys arrived and what? 13 girls. So here now, it is meant to be in fine state. It is in fine state, not just meant to be. It is in fine state, but it is taking fatha. Why? Because we already said it is what? Mabniyu ala fathi juzain. So hadara salasata ashara waladan. Waladan nasbuhu mufrodan. Always happens to them. Wasalasa ashrota bintan. And look at the gender. Bint, girl, feminine. Salas, that is the masculine form. So the gender are what? Opposite. Salasata, walad, gender opposite. But the ashara we conform with the gender. It is just the what? The unit part of the number that changes in gender. Then the last example, zabahtu samaniyata ashara jamalan wa samaniya ashrata baqaratan. I slaughtered 18 cows, 18 camels and 18 cows. So zabahtu, we have defined here already. That means this is what maf'ulun bihi. But like I mentioned earlier, we will not say maf'ulun bihi mansubun bi fatha. No, because it is what? Mabniyu ala fathi juz'ain. So jamalan nasbuhu mufrodan. Then wasamaniya ashrata baqaratan, and 18 cows. Baqaratan nasbuhu mufrodan. And now let's check the gender. Jamal, samaniya. They are what? Interchanged. Samaniyata jamal interchange. Then we have samaniya baqaratan also interchange. So you have to take note of the rules. First is that the most basic one, it is nasbuhu mufrodan for the ma'dud, what we are counting. So all of these words that we have underlined, they are the tamyiz, because we cannot just perform these actions on the numbers. We have to bring the tamyiz to what? Remove ambiguity. So qamis, sayyara, surah, hadith, walad, bint, baqarah, jamal, they are what? They are the tamyiz, because they are the one telling us what really happened in the sentence. It's not just the verbs happening to the numbers, or the numbers performing the action. It is the tamyiz that will now come in to tell us, okay, this is what happened. So we cannot say hafiztu ahada ashara, I memorized 11. It's not complete. So it's the hadith that came, okay, I memorized 11 hadith. So they are what? The tamyiz, and they are the what? They are the ma'dud, what we have quantified. So the rules again, the most basic one, nasbuhu mufrodan. The ma'dud will be nasbu, and it will be what? Singular. Then the number are in two parts. It's a type of murakkab masjiyu. They are what? They are in two parts. And those two parts are mabniyu ala fathi. So we say mabniyu ala fathi juz'ain for the two parts. Except isnata and isna, then ihda, which is mabniyu ala sukun. So this one we take in Rob normally. So the nasbu states will be for what? Ya, and also for the jaru. So isnatai in nasbu and jaru states. So then the final rule is that the gender of all of the number and the ma'dud will change. So with that, we will round up for 11 to 19. Inshallah, next class we shall be looking at the rest of the numbers. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.